Welcome to this special deep dive into the world of Doom 3. In today's video, we will be unraveling the complex and often horrifying lore of the UAC Mars research facility by going through the various audio logs and emails of its employees. These internal communications offer a vivid, if fragmented, glimpse into the escalating crisis that unfolds in the game. This reconstructed timeline is an amalgamation of information not just from Doom 3, but also its various supplements and spin-offs. This includes the game's expansion pack, Resurrection of Evil, which continues and expands upon the narrative threads introduced in the main game. Additionally, elements from Doom RPG, an older mobile game, have been integrated into this timeline to provide further context and nuances to the overarching narrative. Finally, insights have been gleaned from the Lost Mission, which is part of the BFG edition of Doom 3. This bonus mission provides additional layers of complexity and depth to the story, filling in some gaps and posing new questions. While Doom 3 offers us a rich tapestry of storytelling elements, it is worth mentioning that the dates and events sometimes contradict themselves within the game's own narrative. As a result, what you will see here is our best effort to create a coherent and chronological timeline of events. Think of it as a personal reconstruction, pieced together from a multitude of sources to offer a comprehensive look at the game's world. So, sit back, grab some popcorn, and prepare to delve into the mysterious and terrifying world of Doom 3. Whether you are a die-hard fan or new to the series, you're in for a treat as we sift through the chaos to find the answers lurking in the dark corners of this iconic game. Let's get started. Founded in 2015 by Thomas Kelleher, the UAC rapidly evolved from a media conglomerate into a powerhouse in sectors like energy, defense, aerospace, and bioresearch. By the year 2025, they mounted their first joint expedition to Mars, establishing themselves as pioneers in space exploration. At this point, the company even acted as a de facto government with vast territories on Earth and a strong influence that extended as far as Washington, D.C. Doom 3 highlights a crucial aspect of the UAC's Mars mission: unlimited funding coupled with the ability to operate outside legal and moral obligations. This provided the UAC with a blank canvas, a wild west in space, where they could push the boundaries of science without Earth's ethical or legal constraints. The Martian narrative of Doom kicks off in the year 2095 with the start of the Alpha Lab's construction. Promising to pioneer groundbreaking technology, Alpha Labs becomes the cornerstone of UAC's operations on Mars. It is a hub for innovation where scientists and engineers work tirelessly on projects that could redefine the future of humanity. The scope of UAC's operations takes a monumental shift in 2104 when they stumble upon traces of an ancient civilization on Mars. The UAC realizes that they have tapped into something far bigger than they anticipated, and thus begins a new chapter in their Martian endeavor, one centered on archaeological discovery. The archaeological operations reach a climax in 2115 when the UAC uncovers the first underground chamber, leading to what is now known as Site 1. This expansive area, laced with chambers and tunnels, showcases glyphs etched onto its walls. Site 1, the largest of the archaeological sites, becomes a focus of intense study and speculation, and it eventually leads investigators to another significant location, Site 2. Site 2 stands out for its unique composition, consisting of burial sites. These burial chambers raise questions about the customs, beliefs, and even the technologies of the ancient Martian civilization. Each discovery amplifies the allure and complexity of the Martian narrative. As researchers delve deeper, they arrive at Site 3, the discovery ground of the enigmatic object known as the Soul Cube. Alongside this powerful artifact, they also unearth 4 tablets that help unravel part of the story of this ancient civilization existing millennia ago. The first tablet was a scientific marvel, detailing complex mathematical concepts that described teleportation. Tablets 2 and 3, however, were historical texts that narrated a devastating war between the ancient civilization and an unknown malevolent force. It described the enormous sacrifices made, as most of their society was sacrificed to repel the invaders and create the Soul Cube. The fourth tablet unveiled a revelation that shook the researchers to their core. It postulated that the remnants of the Martian civilization, having survived the war but forever scarred by it, might have used their knowledge of teleportation to escape to Earth. The Lost Mission in the BFG edition of Doom 3 gives us even more details that help clarify the timeline. According to this additional material, the UAC actually discovered a non-functioning teleporter in the same year. Armed with the newfound knowledge from the ancient tablets, the UAC took a daring step into the realm of teleportation, led by the ambitious Dr. Malcolm Betruger. Through reverse engineering, they were able to create a working prototype by the year 2139, codenamed Project Mercury. Project Mercury was quite limited in its capabilities, allowing for only short-distance teleportation and a single test subject at a time. Scientists expected instantaneous teleportation, but to their surprise, there was a variable delay between departure and arrival. The realization both puzzled and intrigued them. The technology was not as straightforward as the mathematical models had suggested. Deciding to push the boundaries further, they escalated their experiments to include a drone. The recorded footage from the drone's journey was mostly uneventful, save for a few frames that captured something unsettling. Multiple eyes, appearing to float in an abyss of darkness, stared back at them from the drone's camera. It was a momentary glimpse, but it was enough to electrify the atmosphere in the lab. Seized by a mix of scientific curiosity and personal ambition, Dr. Betruger proposed a bold new phase of experimentation involving human subjects. He was fascinated by the eyes in the darkness, viewing them not as a warning, but as an opportunity for unprecedented study. Keeping his true intentions masked, Betruger asked his team to falsify reports to maintain secrecy around the project. Following the success of Project Mercury, a more sophisticated and ambitious teleporter was developed, known as Project Gemini. Soon after, they started their venture by selecting 3 human test subjects, each unaware of the risks involved or the anomalies observed in prior tests. The results were disturbing. Each subject returned from the teleportation experiment in a state of near insanity. One subject was found to have chewed off his own finger, a grim testament to the psychological toll the experience had inflicted. Despite the alarming outcomes of the initial human trials, the UAC, fueled by a mix of scientific zeal and moral ambiguity, persisted with their teleportation experiments. In Delta Labs Sector 4, they initiated Project Apollo, a room-sized teleportation device designed to transport multiple subjects or even larger objects at once. The first full team they sent through the portal met a grim fate. None returned alive. However, the loss was not entirely in vain, as the venture provided invaluable data on the mysterious creatures glimpsed in earlier tests. Analysis suggested that these entities were carbon-based life forms, remarkably heat-resistant and exhibited rudimentary intelligence. Some even demonstrated the ability to manipulate plasma, a finding that sent ripples through the scientific community. Undeterred by the sacrifices and ethical dilemmas, the UAC continued to send more teams into the unknown. Each mission resulted in casualties. But the allure of groundbreaking discoveries kept them moving forward. By 2144, their persistence bore fruit, or more aptly, it captured specimens. For the first time, they managed to bring back living samples from the other side of the portal. As the UAC expeditions continued, they increasingly brought back a diverse range of those specimens for study. With each new biological sample, Dr. Malcolm Betruger's behavior grew increasingly erratic and unsettling. The scientific community within the UAC had mixed feelings. They were awed at the groundbreaking discoveries, but also apprehensive about their leader's increasingly unusual demeanor. Thanks to recovered PDA records from UAC employees, the timeline of these critical events has become more transparent. One such account was notably detailed, belonging to research specialist Simon Garlick. Assigned to Expedition 14A2 on August 6th, Garlick's mission was multifaceted. He was chosen partly because of his familiarity with the ancient tablets discovered on Mars. The expedition aimed to find corroborative evidence on the other side of the portals. Any similar writings were to be photographed and collected. However, the primary goal was far more daring, capturing one of the larger, more menacing creatures referred to as a Hell Knight. While armed for protection, the team was instructed to use non-lethal force if possible, underscoring the UAC's desire for a live specimen. The tension within the UAC community escalated as Expedition 14A2 commenced. On August 8, 2145, Simon Garlick recorded a chilling audio log that captured the unsettling atmosphere of the experiments. Garlick, who had been deeply engrossed in sample collection, found himself in an inexplicable situation. His team had vanished without a trace. When he looked up from his work, they were gone. All tools and personal effects ominously left behind, as if they had stopped mid-task. Comlink communication attempts yielded nothing but silence, heightening his isolation and distress. 2 days later, another log surfaced, revealing an even darker tale. Garlick still had not located any of his team members and was becoming increasingly frantic. The horror in his voice was palpable as he described encountering creatures that could only be described as demons. Monstrous beings far larger and more terrifying than any of the specimens previously brought back. "The last thing I saw was teeth," he uttered, his voice trembling. He also spoke of indescribable sounds that seemed to echo from the bowels of the unknown. Most disturbingly, Garlick mentioned that these creatures were toying with him, adding a sadistic element to his nightmarish ordeal. The log abruptly ended. It was the last anyone ever heard from Simon Garlick. The atmosphere at the UAC Mars facility grew tenser with each passing day. Dr. Malcolm Betruger, once a cornerstone of scientific inquiry at the facility, underwent a mysterious transformation after a solo expedition through the portal. Though he returned physically unchanged, those who interacted with him felt an unsettling difference in his demeanor. He was no longer the scientist they thought they knew. He was different, imbued with a kind of fervor that was both unsettling and infectious. The UAC board acted. A message was sent to Councillor Swan on Earth, giving him a mandate to initiate a full operations review of the Mars Research Facility. The board considered teleportation to be their single most vital scientific endeavor, and were deeply concerned that Betruger's investigations into extra-dimensional realms could jeopardize it. Meanwhile, Betruger, undeterred by scrutiny and more driven than ever, continued to push the boundaries of the portal experiments. On October 2nd, an email surfaced from Betruger. He was insistent that crates containing religious artifacts sent from Earth be expedited directly to Delta Labs. While it's not explicitly mentioned in the story what the religious artifacts sent to Betruger from Earth is for, we can speculate on their possible uses. One compelling theory is that they might serve as a ritual component for him, a ceremony for a promised gift. Elizabeth McNeil, a UAC Delta Lab researcher who was increasingly worried about Betruger's actions, penned a formal request for an inquiry. Swan, responding to her concerns, informed her that her allegations against Betruger were being taken very seriously. It was Betruger's chilling reply to Councillor Swan that capped off the chain of escalating events. In a tone almost contempt, he rebuked the decision for a full operations review. "There is no need for you to come to Mars," he wrote. "All I need is more money and more time. The research being conducted here will change mankind in ways no one can imagine. His closing lines sent a shiver down the spines of all who read them. Don't waste your time coming here, Swan. You will only get in my way and impede the outstanding work we're doing here. Elizabeth McNeil was then sent back to Earth by Betruger for her actions. How lucky she was. In an audio log dated October 12, 2145, Robert Price, the Delta Operational Director, speaks about the mounting difficulty in assigning engineers to lower Delta labs. In 6 months, a volunteer surplus had turned into a critical deficiency of willing personnel, and a rise in unexplained mental illness was noted. Meanwhile, Betruger kept sending expedition through the portal, asking for more samples and data. By October 16th, the situation is dire. Administrative Assistant Han Lee's audio log reveals that 20 personnel had been wiped out on their second excursion. The base is rife with rumors and fear, and powerful new weapons, the BFGs, are being issued. An email from Lowell Fauché hints at physical dangers as well. The very ruins they're exploring under the surface of Mars are deteriorating, leading to tragic casualties. Frank Delahue's audio log on October 18th paints an equally grim picture. Power production is overloaded, parts are failing, and he warns that all hell is going to break loose if things do not improve. If only he knew. As the already tense and mysterious events at the UAC Mars facility continue to unfold, Research Director Larry Bullman brings a new revelation to the table. On October 19th, 2145, he records an audio log discussing his research on the Soul Cube. Bullman's investigation uncovers that this artifact is more than just an enigmatic object of alien origin. It might serve as a weapon. Power fluctuations have hampered his attempts to get the linguistic CPU online to verify his theory, but what he has deciphered so far from the glyphs is chilling. Once reaching a specific threshold, the artifact becomes a lethal weapon, suggesting an autonomous functionality. Shortly after Bullman's log, Dr. Malcolm Betruger responds with an email that raises more questions than it answers. He flatly denies Bullman's theory, calling it bizarre, and instructing him to send all his notes immediately for review. Moreover, he explicitly warns Bullman to keep his findings secret. What is most unsettling here is the tone and urgency of Betruger's email. His response indicates that he is not just dismissing the findings, he is almost threatened by them, or the attention they could attract. As tensions escalate at the UAC Mars research facility, a new layer of urgency and danger is revealed through various audio logs and emails. Administrative Assistant Han Lee reports on October 20th, 2145, that yet another research team sent through the portal has gone missing. Radio silence and a total blackout on tracking systems spell a grim fate for the researchers. Parallel to this, Director William Banks is grappling with a different but equally concerning problem. Missing personnel reports are piling up, especially from the already troubled Delta sector. While an investigation is underway, the link between these disappearances and a surge of psychological disorders among personnel is deeply unsettling. Amid these dire circumstances, a cryptic, anonymous email lands in Dr. Bullman's inbox not long after his discovery on the weapon aspect of the Soul Cube, suggesting that his suspicions about the artifact are correct. This shadowy correspondent, who remains nameless in the message, warns that Bullman's boss is more dangerous than anyone imagines. According to the email, Bullman's findings are being manipulated for dark purposes. The anonymous writer implores him to stall any efforts that would let his boss take possession of the mysterious object. As November 13th rolls around, the situation at the UAC Mars research facility continues to worsen, with strange events and incidents piling up. On November 14th, Ian McCormick releases a report validating Larry Bullman's conclusions about the Soul Cube's capabilities as a weapon. His report also includes an astonishing revelation. The Soul Cube is designed to gather power by taking lives, and when fully charged, can destroy almost any living being. Moreover, the cube transfers the life force of the slain target back to the wielder, adding another layer to its already enigmatic nature. By November 15th, a new recruit is arriving at the Mars base, introducing the start of Doom 3 First Level. On the same day, investigator Elliot Swan arrived to Mars, accompanied by his bodyguard. His reputation precedes him, and the facility's staff fears he could shut down the whole operation. For the players' inaugural mission, they are tasked with locating Dr. Jonathan Ishii, a scientist who has mysteriously disappeared for some time. This quest leads them to an ancient communications facility nestled deep within the Mars subterranean chambers. There, amidst the shadows and echoing corridors, the player discovers the frantic scientist. Dr. Ishii urgently implores them to let him relay a warning to Earth before it's too late, cryptically stating this iconic line.
The devil is real. I know. I built his cage.
As the ominous weight of his words hang in the air, Betruger is last seen entering the portal with the Soul Cube in hand, unleashing a relentless onslaught of demons upon the Martian base. It is implied that Betruger was promised limitless power by the demons, contingent upon his aid in facilitating their invasion of Earth. As the Marine, your initial goal is to reconnect with Bravo Team under the orders of Sergeant Kelly. But the mission quickly changes as the squad is annihilated, making you the only one capable of transmitting a distress call to Earth. A plan that Elliot Swan tries to halt, fearing that the demons will use incoming ships as a conduit to Earth. Eventually, after making the decision of transmitting or not the distress call, you find that Kelly has been transformed into a demonic creature. The role of Sergeant Kelly is somewhat ambiguous. It remains unclear whether he was aligned with Betruger from the outset or was merely adhering to standard military protocol in requesting backup from Earth. Nevertheless, he ultimately succumbs to Betruger's malevolent influence, launching an assault on Elliot Swan and his bodyguard, and subsequently appropriating the BFG weaponry. Kelly undergoes a metamorphosis into Sabaoth, a grotesque amalgamation of demon and military tank. In a last-ditch effort, you enter Hell itself to retrieve the Soul Cube, as Dr. Pierce Rogers' final audio log attests to its importance. The Soul Cube proves to be the answer, just as Bullman had speculated. Armed with it, you return to Mars, venture into the caverns, and finally confront the ultimate evil in a desperate bid to close the last demonic portal. When Earth forces finally arrive at the Mars facility, they find only you, the lone Marine, alive. As the game culminates, Betruger is revealed to have undergone his own transformation into the Maledict, a horrific entity that encapsulates his dark ambitions and the demonic power he has acquired. The trajectory of Betruger's character serves as a harrowing tale of corruption, unbridled ambition, and the devastating consequences of dabbling in forbidden realms. The facility is in ruins, and many questions remain, but one thing is clear. The Soul Cube was indeed the key. A weapon left behind by an ancient civilization as a final safeguard, it now stands as a testament to the hubris of playing with powers we do not fully understand. On May 1st, 2146, an orbital probe detected a faint, unidentified signal emanating from the abandoned Mars site complex. On August 8th, 2146, the UAC announced the renewal of its Mars research program, this time under the leadership of Dr. Elizabeth McNeil. Known for her prior warnings about the risks of UAC's experiments, McNeil is chosen to lead the renewed effort. The game begins as the UAC send a team to investigate the source of the signal. Upon their arrival and touching the mysterious artifact, it awakens, creating a portal that allows demons to invade the facility once more. Players are guided by Dr. McNeil as they navigate through the nightmarish circumstances. The artifact is revealed to be more than just a gateway. It also serves as a weapon similar to the Soul Cube, but to be wielded by the demons themselves. As the story progresses, it becomes clear that the only way to end the demonic invasion is to return the artifact back to Hell. The game concludes with a high-stakes confrontation between the player and Dr. Betruger in his maledict form. While Betruger is vanquished, the outcome of this climactic battle is left somewhat ambiguous, as the game ends without confirming the survival of either Dr. McNeil or the Marine. And there we have it. While at first glance the story of Doom 3 may appear straightforward, another tale of fighting off demon invasions, it's only when we delve deeper into its intricate lore that the true complexities come to light. From the scattered PDAs to the audio logs and snippets of conversation, it's clear that a considerable amount of effort has gone into building this narrative layer, giving life to the UAC facility, its employees, and the unfolding catastrophe. So, what did you think of the story of Doom 3? Are there elements that still confuse you? Are there aspects or details that you think we've missed? Your thoughts and perspectives enrich the conversation, and we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the hidden layers of Doom 3. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more deep dives into the lore of your favorite games, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Until next time, keep exploring those dark corridors. You never know what stories they might hold.